And a good day. Welcome. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Thank you, affiliates. Thank you, show team, Rich, Matt, Jeff, and everybody else. And special thanks to you, our listeners, the Take Two family, we call you. You drive the show every day with your takes. You share what's going on in your life when we present a topic, and together we all learn and we grow, and we so much appreciate and value your listenership and your participation. I'm Jerry Usher, and she is Debbie Georgiani.
Hello, hello. Jerry, I was so excited. I happened to glance down at my cell phone because that's how we get text messages that come in from some of our Take Two family. And it popped up on my screen. It said, EWTN Radio is live right now with Take Two. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's us.
Nice.
Do you get those pop-ups?
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I'd never noticed it before. I don't know where I've been.
Maybe somebody just signed you up without you knowing it.
Oh, that could be. Did you, Jerry? Come on. No, okay.
I did not, but is that a social media snafu?
Well, that's what we're thinking, because that's the title today of today's show is Social Media Snafus. And Jerry, I have to ask you, because we've had a lot of our listeners weigh in already and said they just were so amazed at how you timed this topic so perfectly, with the fact that it happens to be that Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO and co-founder of Facebook, is testifying live on the news today at the Senate committee about Facebook. Did you time it, or was this just a God incidence?
Well, it's a God incidence because I do not follow news closely enough to have known that Zuckerberg was going to be testifying today. But perhaps it is a blessed coincidence, if you will, because we are going to be talking about the use of social media, not just Facebook, but I don't even know what all of them are anymore, Debbie. There's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. What else is there? But the thing...
Snapchat,
Instagram. The way I wanted to put forth this topic was this, okay? We want to ask you, our listeners, if you have had what we call a snafu, some kind of something, maybe you posted something that you regretted on one of your social media accounts. Or here's a really big thing that I want to hear from somebody or multiple people about, because I know people, Debbie, in whose marriages this has happened. You start, the husband and the wife, you both start your own Facebook pages, and those are public, so you can kind of know what's going on. And all of a sudden, after 30, 35, 25 years, your wife, is friended by her former, high school boyfriend. Okay. Does that cause an issue? Does that cause your current husband to say, I don't think that's appropriate? And then you say, well, look, we're just friends. And so I know people, Debbie, for whom that has created an issue. And I don't know if anybody listening has had that experience, but that's one of the things that I really would like to maybe get into a little bit today.
Well, here's a suggestion. Here's how you can solve that issue, because when they have these high school reunion things, Jerry, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. You're going to reconnect with people that you grew up with. And of course, if you went through high school and you dated, possibly this was your first boyfriend, maybe your first girlfriend. But the way I think you can solve that, Jerry, is to share accounts, especially in the family. Marty and I, we have a shared account. We have our separate Facebook accounts, but Marty can see mine and I can see his. In fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's under Marty's. So when I sign in under Marty's, and then I have my own Facebook account. But he can see mine and I can see his. So there you go. Everything's out in the open.
Well, dear listeners, this is one for you to take and knock out of the park at 833-288-3986. What is your own personal take on this? What's your own personal experience in using social media yourself? Have you had an account hacked, for example? This is the thing that Zuckerberg is testifying today, that, Facebook has had some security breaches and so forth. At least that's what I understand he's going to be talking about. I once had my Twitter account hacked, and people were sending out all these vulgar things. And Debbie, I was getting these reactions from people like, Jerry, what's happened to you? And I said, nothing's happened to me. Somebody got into my Twitter account, So
right.
Any kind of social media snafu that we have laid out, or maybe you have your own, please join us. These lines fill up fast. It's 833-288-EWTN.
And you said something at the very beginning, Jerry, where you were talking about when you put stuff out there and you just realize, now it's out there and everybody has access to it. They could possibly save it or do whatever. And that is really, I think, it can be very troubling. I think because at the time when you're posting it, you may not be thinking this is forever. But then as time goes on, because I know there's folks that have posted things early on in their work career, and then when they switched jobs, Jerry, it has come back to haunt them. Have you ever heard that too?
I have absolutely heard that. And maybe that's something else for one or more of our callers to weigh in on. If maybe that's happening. Maybe it didn't cost you a job, but you found out that a prospective employer was digging through your past social media activity,
Right.
Fascinating, really.
Well, if I understand it correctly, like Snapchat, it's one of these things where the picture pops up, but then you can get rid of it right away. And so people have this false sense of security that it's gone and it's not forever. But then I just read recently, and I wish somebody would call in and maybe educate me. I don't know, Jerry, you seem to know more about this than I do, but educate me on this. I had heard that you can actually find out where a person's located on Snapchat. You know exactly where they are at all times on Snapchat because it comes in instantaneously. That to me is just an invasion of, I don't know, that just seems kind of creepy. I don't know why people would want to have the whole world to know where you are at every moment of every day. I don't get it.
I wouldn't. No, I agree with you completely on that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, not that I'm hiding anything, but I just feel it's kind of strange. You know what I mean?
It's not a matter of hiding anything, really. It's just a matter of, like you said. I mean, there are people in the world you probably don't want to know want them knowing where you are, but it's just a privacy thing anyway.
Right.
But anyway, I think the table is set, Debbie. Don't you? I think we've got a lot that we put out there, and
we let our listeners take it away.
Yeah, your use of social media. How do you make use of it? Are you very, very on your guard when you post things? Have you been scandalized by something that you have seen or read on a social media account? And then, of course, those bigger issues like a spouse getting friended by an old flame. Has that for you, or maybe you have a relative, a couple that that's caused a problem for? Any of these? 833-288-3986. Got a phone line open just for you.
Jumpstart your faith. Now coming to a parish conference or retreat near you, world-renowned Catholic radio host Jerry Usher.
If we're going to be authentic men of God, leaders in our families, churches, and communities, we have to be healed of the wounds and the traumas that underlie our sins, our anxieties, our shame.
Invite Jerry Usher today. Contact thirdmillenniummedia.com. Living the Beatitudes with Father Bjorn.
Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. What does this strange beatitude mean? Well, Father Victor Feltz points out that George Bailey, in It's a Wonderful Life, embodies this beatitude. He has to sacrifice his bucket list items and his dreams in order to save the building and loan company of Bedford Falls. But by the end of the movie, he realizes that he's truly the richest man in town. The Beatitudes challenge our understanding of happiness both as individuals and as a society. They're paradoxical and they upend our priorities. We don't need anyone to tell us that good fortune, money, and success do often make us happy. But we wouldn't have thought that the road to riches in God's kingdom is paved with meekness. It doesn't mean denying your gifts, but it does challenge us to allow others to have the spotlight and to approach them with gentleness. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Phone lines are lighting up here at Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. We're talking about social media today, all angles of social media. So if you have something to say about it, now's the time to do it. Don't wait till the end of the show. Jerry, I have to tell you, and it's a good problem to have, don't get me wrong. We're getting a lot of emails of folks wanting to keep the conversation going about the topics that we put forth. And it's wonderful, but it's taking us a few days to get back to you. Jerry, you're much quicker than I am. on the keyboard. It takes me a little longer, and the older I get, even longer. So, folks, please be patient. We try so hard to send personal notes from one of us, and we represent each other when we email back. Or maybe sometimes you get lucky and you get both of us to reply. But you can always send us an email at take2, the number 2, at EWTN.com.
You know, one other quick thing before we go to the phones, and if anyone has done this, you know, a lot of famous people, you know, personalities, movie stars, are actually dumping Facebook and other services simply because of some of the issues that we talked about, but also because of, you know, the actions or the inaction maybe of Facebook, you know, to protect its members and so forth. So if there's anyone listening who has maybe just made the decision at some point, you know what, I'm just going to stop using social media, that would be fascinating because it's hard to go back from those types of things. I mean, imagine going back from cell phones to, you know, a landline that sat on a, you know, a counter in your kitchen or something. You know, that would be a tough way to go back. So,
Jerry,
anyway,
I just have to share something. A friend just texted in and said, Debbie, that's hilarious that you don't want anybody to know where you're at on Snapchat, because if you did, they would just find out all the different Italian restaurants you frequent. It's true. It's very true. They say she's at Vincentorio's again. It's so true. Really.
Right.
And you would be like, what, a Chinese buffet, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, there you go. The other thing, too, Jerry, is that we have another text message that came in and said, you know, please make sure you spread the positive aspects of Facebook, that it has really helped, social media has really helped advance companies and small startup things like that, like with you know, when you do what's the two fundraising things that you do when you start up companies,
like GoFundMe or something.
Right. So they wanted to just to make sure we say the positive side of using social media.
Yeah, in fact, those who receive the daily postings on take2show.com, you will realize I posted yesterday afternoon for today's show, and the very first thing I said was the social media can serve many positive purposes. They can keep us connected to family and friends, enable us to spread the gospel, and so much more. So the first kudos I gave were very, very positive, and then just kind of got into a little bit of what we wanted to talk about today. So
right. Okay.
Here's the phone number.
Okay.
Go ahead.
833-288-3986. Great minds think alike, huh, Jerry? We want those phone lines lit up. 833-288-EWTN. Please don't wait till the end of the show. Call in now. We'd like to get as many calls in as possible because remember, you drive the show. If you've just tuned in for the very first time on Take Two, and by the way, we heard from Norway. There was an email that came in from Norway, Jerry, and I'm so excited that we have this worldwide audience that's listening to Take Two, and they just download the podcasts, they get it on their apps, and they listen to it when they have time to. And it's wonderful that we're so hi to Norway. Bring us out to Norway. I'd like to go there. Would you? Have you been there?
I have not been to Norway. No, not yet.
It would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready?
I am. 833-288-3986. One line is open if you'd like to weigh in on our conversation about social media. Craig got in first in Naugatuck, Connecticut. I hope I said that right, listening on Sirius XM 130. Was I in the ballpark on your city, Craig?
You were very close. Naugatuck.
Naugatuck, okay. Very good. Well, thank you, sir, for calling in and being first today. What's on your mind about this?
Well, I just wanted to comment. I'm a first-time listener, and I really like your show so far.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that about 5.5 years ago, I actually got rid of my Facebook, you know, and it was the best thing, one of the best things I've ever done.
Tell us why, Craig.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just because when I first joined, you know, it was a popular thing to do. You know, everybody had one. You know, you could connect with people from way back when and whatnot. But after some time, it just became kind of a popularity contest. You know, look at me. You know, it became more than just, you know, keeping in touch with people, sharing pictures. It was just too much, you know. And then I heard stories that Facebook kind of tracked you and your activities, and, you know, and I'm not a fan of that.
Right. Well, I'm with you, Craig.
Yeah,
go ahead. Finish your thought there.
No, I mean, and I was just going to say, you know, people that you're close to, you know, you either have their addresses, you can send them letters, or you have their phone numbers. You know, to me, that's all I really need. Everybody I'm close to, they're in my phone. So,
right. I'm with you, Craig, all the way. I think when these different social media were starting to be developed and be launched and become popular, I kind of did the same thing. I just went along with the crowd. I started my Facebook page, which, I've got like 4,000 people, I'm friended with, and probably if I've sent out 10 of those friend requests, I'd be surprised because it's obviously people who know me from the radio, or it pops up on their other friends, they suggest this and all this. And I usually just accept all of them because, I have nothing to hide. And I post on my Facebook account maybe once every 3 months or something like that. I use Twitter more predominantly. I think I have a LinkedIn account. I get daily invitations to connect on LinkedIn, and I have never used that either. So you see, I set up a lot of these accounts just thinking, well, maybe they'll be useful, or maybe it's the cool thing to do because everybody's doing it. And over time, I've kind of gotten bored with it.
Really? So okay. Did you have that sense of boredom too, Craig?
A little bit of boredom, and like I said, I was just kind of annoyed and sick of it in general, and it was just a better thing to do just to dump it.
Okay.
Right.
See, when I hear both of you speaking about this, what comes to mind for me is that I just don't want to be tied to it. I don't like the feeling. I tend to be a little bit of a free spirit, and I don't like to have to always check it all the time, or I'm kind of falling behind. So that was interesting, Craig, how you were talking about being a popularity contest, and how when in order to have that kind of popularity contest, you have to frequent it a lot. You have to use it a lot. And so that's very interesting. I just want to thank you so very much, Craig, on behalf of Jerry and I and all of the EWTN family. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for jumping in and calling in. We hope you are a regular caller and a regular listener, and we hope you benefit greatly spiritually from everything you hear on EWTN Radio. Thanks,
Craig, for the call. We appreciate that. Before we go to Pansy, you make a really good point, Debbie. That is the time investment that's involved in this. That's one. When I said I get bored with it, I think it's not. It's a little bit of that, but it's also every time I want to go and maybe do something on social media, I look around. I've got 10 other things that I have to do right now.
Right.
And so I just don't get to it. So I'd love to hear from anybody who is frequent on not just Facebook, but all of the social media, and you manage that, and you still manage your family duties and your job and all of that. 833-288-3986. Pansy in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, also on Sirius XM 130. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. How are you?
Hello. Good afternoon, Jerry and Debbie. I am doing well. Thank you. How are you?
Doing great.
Doing
Better
great.
now that
Thank
you
you.
called.
Nice. Yes, Debbie, I am really glad that you brought up the topic about Snapchat and the location discussion. I just wanted to comment on that, if I may, please.
Sure.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, so you are very right. It is very weird, very unnecessary, to be honest, with the location. And my friends and I, we are college students, and so we are very familiar with social media. And so it was really nice. Like we're very informed, and we really want to make sure on how to protect ourselves in like the best way possible. And so we were combing through the app, and there is a setting that we may turn off the location. So it's really nice, and it keeps it a lot more like practical.
Okay.
And so there's that. Another thing about Snapchat, how you mentioned that, that illusion that when you like give that Snapchat, then when you send it, that like it's only there for that moment and then it's gone. I just want to inform everyone, though, yes, it is an illusion because though it seems like that, yeah, again, we were looking through the privacy policy, and once that Snapchat is made and sent, that actually belongs to the company. And so I don't know if it would be a problem for anyone, but like just in case, just be careful of what you take pictures of, and just know that, yeah, Snapchat does have ownership of that.
Wow.
Oh, right? Yeah, very weird. Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Well, Pansy?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there
Go ahead.
anything else you can educate us on quickly on just kind of the, because you just shared that, which is very, very, I think, alarming, because folks are taking pictures thinking it's all in good fun, and that's out there, and that's forever, and it's owned by somebody else. But is there anything else, like, you could give us tidbits on maybe just like what you guys as college students do, like the do's and don'ts real quick of social media?
Well, I don't think we're like the typical college students, because we really hang out at our campus ministry and everything. But yeah, just I think with the help of our priest, like, he just really showed us kind of what you guys were saying, just with the other caller, that yeah, it is really unnecessary, and he has given us that challenge for Lent to not use social media as much. And it's amazing about how much more connected you feel in terms of that. To actually use it, like, yeah, again, we're pretty Catholic nerds, so we share really cool articles from actually you guys, EWTN and the Catholic Channel and everything else. So
nice.
Very nice.
Kind of like what you were saying about evangelization. So that's really nice.
Yeah. It is. Well, Pansy, thank you so much for calling in and sharing what you did today. You've given us some good insights from a young person on a college campus, and we know that it sounds like you're very, very devoted to your faith, you and your friends, and we know that you're going to use social media in a positive, healthy, godly kind of way, and we're blessed by that. And we'll pray for you. Pray for your studies and your discernment, your career, and your classes and all of that. And please keep Take Two and all of us in your prayers, if you would, Pansy. We appreciate that. Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about social media today, use of it, and if you or someone has ever kind of stubbed your toe, gotten in a little bit of a trouble because of making a connection with somebody from the past, or something you posted or read something you were scandalized by, 833-288-EWTN. We're going to Mike next in York, Nebraska, another Sirius XM 130 listener, 3 in a row. Hi, Mike. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
How you guys doing today?
Great, Mike. How are you?
Doing wonderful. I'm a truck driver, so I drive all over the country, and I like to post my pictures that I get, throughout the country on Facebook, so that my family and friends, a lot of them don't do a lot of traveling, so they don't get to see a lot of the stuff. Like, I drove through the Grand Tetons and took pictures of the mountains, or most recently in Northern California and Oregon, I was taking pictures, and it's just a way for me to kind of, I guess, share a little bit of the country with everybody that I'm connected with in the country,
Right. But Mike, I think that is priceless. I think that is precious, because you're taking pictures, you're allowing all of your friends and family to kind of live vicariously through the wonderful experiences that you encounter and the visual, just beautiful God's creations as you drive. And I think that is incredible. I guess what I'm kind of talking about is these. How do you say it tactfully when a bunch of folks get together and they go out for a night on the town, and there's drinking, and they're at all sorts of places, and they're taking pictures with 5 different glasses of alcohol in their hands, and they're toasting.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just think that can be really problematic. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. We I actually a marriage was destroyed because of Facebook. My wife and I, my first wife actually, is she had reconnected with a high school friend of hers, because she happened to see that one of her friends was living in Phoenix through another friend that she was connected with. They were out partying up there in the bars and whatnot. But she connected with him, wanted him to come down and visit us and stay the night and stay the whole weekend. And at the time, I was working third shift on weekends, and we had previous issues with infidelity, and we were going through counseling and trying to repair that. And I was very, very unreasonable, quote unquote, and said, no, I don't want any other men in the house when I'm not home. And a week later, she ended up moving in with him. She left the house and moved in with him.
Well,
so yeah, I mean, Facebook. I mean, to allow the window into your life, I think it's a good and a bad. It's two sides of the same coin, so to speak. And it can be used for good. It can be used for bad. It's just like anything else, I guess, in the world.
Mike, I would say two things. I echo what Debbie said. It's beautiful the way you're doing that because you get to see, your family and friends get to see parts of the country and God's creation that they otherwise would not get to see. And it gives you that joy of being able to share that with them. And they can keep track of you on the road and all of that. But I would say there was nothing unreasonable about not wanting another man sleeping in your house when you weren't there. So, Mike, if you're feeling any kind of like maybe you should have been different about that or something, I would personally encourage you to maybe rethink that. Hold on, Mike, for just 1 second. We're going to have a final thought for you on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Be touched by the sacredness of the most blessed sacrament, the resting place of Mother Angelica Plus Tour, the EWTN campus. Start your Catholic pilgrimage today with EWTN. Call 205-271-2966.
The Venerable Fulton John Sheen.
If we wish to keep our rights and liberties, we must also keep our God. Piety and patriotism go together. That's the first glory of being an American.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Tell the boss you have every right to disconnect. Hi, I'm Teresa Tomia with another Media Minute here on EWTN. A proposed law in New York City aiming to give employees the right to disconnect from their phones and emails without the fear of being fired. That law, proposed by a New York City councilman, would make it illegal for a company to require employees to access work email and other communications when they're off the clock. It applies to regular time off, sick days, and vacation time. If a violation is found, the employer could pay a city fine of $250 and an additional fine of $500 that will be given to the employee. The councilman hoping to pass the law by the end of the year. I'm Teresa Tomio with another Media Minute on EWTN.
EWTN, helping people grow in their love and understanding of God.
I just wanted to thank you for your show. It's made such a huge difference in my faith life because if you don't know why you're doing things and you're just going through the motions, it's totally pointless. But if you know why, it's infinitely meaningful. So you really helped me make a 180.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
I'm Brian Patrick with Dr. Gracie Christie, and tomorrow for Gloria Purvis, Father Thomas Petrie joins us live from Rome, and Father Jordan Schmidt is our godly counsel for Morning Glory on EWTN Radio. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
We're talking about the uses of social media today, and we're speaking with Mike, who's a truck driver who listens to Take Two. Chris and Judy and Pedro and Bernadette, hold on. We're going to just talk with Mike a little longer. Mike, I agree with Jerry. Personally, I feel that what you did, I think, was the right thing. You stated what you wished for your household, and it's very unfortunate that your wife chose another path, and she chose to entertain that. And look where it has gotten her. She went with this I guess it was an old friend or an old boyfriend. But here's the thing: what I hear about that is, this is what's so enticing about social media. This is my personal opinion. You tell me, Mike, if I'm right on about this. It's your wife was looking at somebody else's life on social media, and it became intriguing. It became interesting. Maybe at a point in her life, maybe it was kind of just a mellow life, if you will. And so now another life became enticing. And that's very dangerous, in my opinion. What do you think, Mike? Is that what happened with your first wife?
I absolutely believe that's probably exactly what happened with her. We married young. We were 20. We were in our early 20s when we got married. At the time this happened, we had two beautiful children. Still do have two beautiful children. But I think she was kind of missing out on her friends and going out and partying. And she was home living the mom life and the family life. And all of her other friends were off and drinking and partying. And I think that's what she wanted. That's kind of what she desired more than, kind of sticking to, I guess you could almost say, the plan. Because, like I said, we had fidelity issues earlier, and then we were trying to move past that. We were going to counseling. Things were starting to get, a little bit more organized and ordered. But I think ultimately the thing was she missed the excitement of all of that. And she got a taste of it through social media, and then she ended up reconnecting with this guy that she had gone to high school with and had hung out with a lot. Right. And then,
how are your children?
Looked at it like
How are your children doing with all this? How are your children doing with all this?
The children are doing wonderfully, actually. They're still, they know that, mommy and daddy still love them. And, even though we're split up, we did end up getting a divorce, and I'm in the process of getting the annulment taken care of with the church.
Okay.
But the kids understand what was going on, and not the exact specifics. I never want to speak of their mother in an ill light, but
right.
We always just explain to them this is not their fault. They have it has nothing to do with our love for them, and my son's going to be coming out this summer and riding around in the truck with me during summer break from school, and my daughter as well. Well, I'll take one for 1 month, and then the other one will come out, and we still spend time together. And I get them both for Christmas or spring breaks, and we all get to spend some time together. So they handle it really well.
Good. Well, that's a plus right there. And Mike, we go through life. Lessons are learned. We learn, we grow. It's often called tuition, whether it's money that we pay and for things and lose or life experiences or what have you. But we're going to continue to pray for you and that you're safe, especially as you're out there serving us, I'm sure, in some way or another with your over-the-road trucking. So, Mike, thanks for listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and for taking the time to call in and share your story. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. And we pray that you have a beautiful, special time with your children as they go and see our beautiful country and how wonderful God's creations are. I think that's a great experience for them.
For sure. All right, Chris is next in Fort Wayne, Indiana, listening to us on, of course, Redeemer Radio. Hello, Chris. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and our conversation about social media. How are you?
Good. Well, I will jump in here and say that I was an avid Facebook user until my daughter, when she was 28, it was about a couple of years ago, informed my husband and I that she was getting off all social media. And we discussed the reason why she was doing it, and it made me reflect about my usage, and I followed suit and stopped Facebook. However, I work for a nonprofit, and I do a lot of donor research, and I'm finding that a lot of nonprofits and churches, they don't have websites anymore. They only have Facebook accounts. So in my work, I have to be on Facebook to try to, find out information about some things I need to know for my job.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's exactly in the same position we're in, Chris. So we can relate to that. Can you share a little bit? You don't have to go into detail, but just to help all of us and educate all of us, why your daughter chose to step out of the social media world?
Well, she has always been a little bit unique in the fact that her phone never was an extension of herself. And she would always kind of even tease us, especially my husband, and, say, Dad, get off your phone, or my son or myself. And she just made the decision that the people who she cares about the most, she will have in her life by either phone call, texting, emails. Believe it or not, there's still the written word by cards and letters. And she gave me such, such an impression that I decided I'm going to be the same way. And so, believe it or not, I'm trying to follow in her footsteps.
Wow. I think that's great, the way this works. We might say in reverse because, often it's a parent who wants a child to take a certain course of action. In this case, you were blessed and inspired by your daughter, Chris. And what comes to my mind is this is kind of like a pruning that took place maybe in each of your lives. It sounds like in her life, because you mentioned she wanted to have those people who really meant something to her and were important to her, were true friends, real friends. Because I think we all know that social media can create the illusion that, like, for example, I have, like I said, several thousand, friends on Facebook. I have 1,700 followers on Twitter. And if I know 2% of them personally, I'd be surprised. And so it sounds like this is just sort of a little bit of a pruning, which can be very life-giving, in fact. And I think Debbie can really help her daughter keep focused on those, like I say, those people who really are special and meaningful to her.
Yeah, Chris, please tell your daughter from us that she's a very wise soul. It's amazing. I'd love for you to keep us posted on the things that she is doing in her life. You said she's 28 years old, and I just feel it, that the good Lord has great things planned for her. It seems like she's got a great head on her shoulders, and that's a testament to how you raised her and the foundation that you provided in the home. So way to go, Chris. This was awesome. I took a ton of notes during your call, and that's always a good thing because then I go back and look at the notes and I learn and grow. I hope others are doing that as well. So thank you, Chris, so very, very much for waiting, getting in on the show, and helping us today to shape the show to just be great like it always is. So thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And to get back to, again, what we said at the start of the show, this is not an anti-social media, tirade on the part of me and Debbie. We're putting the conversation out there just to see if how you use it, and if you've had, changes in your philosophy or your consumption or use of social media, and especially if there's been some kind of a situation that has maybe created friction for you in your life, trouble for you, or maybe even in your marriage by one spouse getting, say, reconnected with an old boyfriend or girlfriend. And Debbie, on email, we heard from Barb in northern Michigan, and Barb says, I was a victim of slander on Facebook along with a local TV station which had an open-ended comment page on their website, which has since been taken down. It involved a mistake I made along with my husband related to a feral cat issue in our neighborhood. A woman on our block has coddled these feral cats and considers them hers. Long story short, she got the law involved, called the TV station to further retaliate towards us, and posted mean messages on Facebook about us. No one asked us our side of the circumstances. It cost us over $2,000 in legal fees and created a permanent disconnect with my 2 adult children because of this slander. We didn't comment or respond to any of the postings. I've never had a Facebook page, nor would I. I use only email. God bless. And that's from Barb in northern Michigan. So we can see that there are dangers out there in social, for all the good that the social media can do. So
right. Okay, Judy in Greenwood, South Carolina. Thank you for waiting, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Hi, Judy.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I just wanted to... doing fine. I'm a Catholic who lives in South Carolina. I'm a widow and have children and grandchildren. And I really like Facebook and YouTube and we do Formed at our church, which our parish pays for it for everyone to have it. I don't know if you do Form, but they have wonderful speakers. They have Dr. Tim Gray, Dr. Brant Petrie, and they do Jeff Cavins, Father Michael Gately. They just do just who's who in Catholic theology, And, of course, on YouTube, we have Dr. Bishop Barron and Father Mike Smith. And I send those to my grandchildren, a lot of Father Mike Smith, because they're so apropos to the young people, But I have really enjoyed all the studies that we can get on social media. The only problem I have, every now and then, I have some Catholic conversations in Catholic groups that I'm in, and I had trouble trying to post it to the right group, and sometimes I'll just get it out to all my friends, and then some of the Protestants say, you're just too Catholic, But anyway, I've have not had any bad experiences with
Well, you just keep being too Catholic, Judy, okay? And don't let that part of you change. But yeah, and Debbie and I are very familiar, Judy. I'm glad you brought up this point about, Debbie, parishes are actually subscribing to things like Formed from the Augustine Institute, very, very, robust program, videos, all kinds of resources, films, great speakers like Judy was saying, and so forth. And there are other YouTube is a great source, I go on YouTube every day, and often, sometimes to listen to music, while I'm cooking dinner or something, but often it's to look at some great Catholic speakers and so forth. So I think Judy's pointing out not only the fact, Debbie, that this can be very, very helpful and edifying in building up our faith, but also as parishes get behind this and offer this to their parishioners. I think that really shows on the part of the parish that they really care about their faith formation.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. And, on the parish app, there's the Divine Office.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we do that. We do the morning prayers. Our priest does morning prayers after daily mass. Not morning or evening, whichever prayers appropriate, after daily masses, and he's taught us how to to read the Divine Office, which I think is wonderful. Before Vatican II, I don't think people did that, right? Just the clergy, would do that.
Well,
but anyway,
Judy, here's the thing: social media being used as for catechesis. And to give those tools that just, ready at our fingertips, I think it's fabulous. It's incredible. And it's about time, I believe anyway, that we as Catholics do get up in that world, because there's other denominations that have really taken hold of various social media and internet sources to be able to evangelize, and it's really important that we do that as well. And so I think how you're using it, Judy, I think, in my personal opinion, is just perfect. So keep going, keep getting formed in the faith and growing, because I was an adult formation director for many years, Judy, and I always said we've got to be formed in the faith until we take our last breath on this earth. And Judy, you're doing it so well. So more power to you in South Carolina. I love South Carolina. It's absolutely gorgeous. And thank you, and have a beautiful day. Okay. We're going to Bernadette. Bernadette in Pickford, Michigan, on Baraga Radio. Hi, Bernadette.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I am not a social media person, and neither is my husband. But I have friction in our marriage. It has caused his stepdaughter has put him on Facebook, and they've got pictures of, his kids, and he's got a business. And so I wasn't even mentioned once on the Facebook, and I found out through a friend that said he was on Facebook. And I just didn't know what to think at first. I confronted him, and said, hey, your daughter's got you on Facebook. Did you know? And he said he didn't care. I just wanted to see what your reaction was. I have said nothing because it just kind of, I don't know, makes me a little upset that she's going behind our back.
Bernadette, a couple of questions for clarification here. Your stepdaughter created the Facebook page that gives the impression that it's your husband's Facebook page, number one, and number two, yes. He actually knew about that and did not oppose for doing that. Am I gleaning that also from what you're saying?
No, he did not know. We did not
didn't know that. Okay.
And then after she did it, I think she must have told him.
And then he was okay with it.
But I found out through a friend.
Yeah, right. Well, as Debbie and I say on the show, and Deb, I'll let you chime in here too. We are not counselors, therapists. We're not marriage counselors or anything. And I know you didn't call up expecting to get anything like that. But to me, it sounds definitely inappropriate. I mean, I don't know if Facebook has any policies. Debbie, do you know? I mean, is there some kind of recourse that Bernadette and or her husband could do to go to Facebook and say, hey, wait a minute, this page was not created by me. I don't know if there's a way to do that. But at the very least, I would think talking to the stepdaughter and saying, honey, please, this really isn't, helping us out at this time in our marriage, and it's really not what we would have wanted to have done. So would you please take that page down?
Well, and I would agree with that, Jerry. But Bernadette, this is just my personal opinion. Again, we're not counselors or therapists, but we've lived a long life. And I just wanted to say that you and your husband need to be united on this. This is a Facebook page that was created, and it's representing your husband. You obviously don't have any access to it. You said you're not even mentioned on it. That's to me, there's levels of issues there. Okay, what is the reason behind this stepdaughter doing this? I don't think it's appropriate. You guys are the adults. She's the daughter. You two need to be united on this and figure out a way to either you both have access to it, you start taking it over and it becomes your page together if that's needed for his business, or it gets shut down. That's how I see it. But I don't think a daughter should, I just don't. It's my personal opinion. I don't think a daughter should be running a parent's Facebook page. That's just, what do you think, Bernadette? Am I being too hard-lined about this?
I just wanted to know what you thought about it, and I didn't know what to do about it, and I do think it's inappropriate, but what can I do?
Just talk to your husband. Talk to your husband and say, this is just not cool. Because here's the thing, if you're not even mentioned on it, what happens if somebody posts and says, hey, starts to pursue your husband in a friendship or something? You're not going to know about it. That's the problem with social media. People can live other lives through social media. And I don't think it's very healthy definitely not from a spiritual level, but it's not even healthy on a practical level. I would just talk to your husband and get united and be one mind on this.
Well, I have talked to him, but he says, well, you tell her take it off, or you tell her you deal with it. But I have said that I didn't really like it, but she just keeps it up, and the ex-wife is on there, and I don't know who all his friends are. But
wow.
I just wanted, they don't even know it's not even him.
Yeah, it's not a healthy situation, Bernadette. I think that's the bottom line. And our producer, Rich Jesse, wrote over to us on a note. He says you can report it to Facebook. So it may fall to you, Bernadette, to do that. I don't know, because it sounds like it's creating, some unhealthy tensions within your marriage, and you certainly don't want that. Debbie said it right. You and your husband need to be united in your marriage, your sacramental marriage. And, do what's the best thing for your primary vocation, and that is you and your husband being united. And certainly take this to prayer, Bernadette. Take it to prayer. Ask Mary, undoer of knots, to come in there. She acts fast. She's very powerful, and she acts very fast. So, Bernadette, thank you so much. We greatly, greatly appreciate your phone call. We've had a lot of calls today from Sirius XM 130, but, Debbie, we get so many calls as well from Catholic Radio, our affiliates around the country. And there are new ones going on the air all the time, which is great news. And for those of you who are listening and you think, wow, another Catholic station went on the air, how did that happen? Well, the way it happened is because a great group of usually lay people, often with the help of clergy and often with the support of the bishop, usually all the time the support of the bishop, they get together, they start to have meetings, they go deep into prayer, and they get guidance from EWTN. And pretty soon they have a plan to identify a station to buy or get a frequency that's not being used. And it takes maybe a few years, but, a lot of prayer and hard work. Radio stations can be started by you. You don't have to work for one of the conglomerates in radio around the country or around the world. Little old you, little old me, we can start Catholic radio. So contact Jack Williams at EWTN at 205-795-5756 if you have any interest at all. You're not committing to anything, but it could help to bring Catholic radio to where you live.
Right. And Jerry, we have a lot of new listeners today. We're noticing, and some new calls today. So I just wanted, if you're still listening, please make sure you stay tuned in all day long on EWTN. We have great programs planned for you. I just want to highlight real quickly, Call to Communion with Dr. David Anders. It's this afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. He is phenomenal, such a brilliant person, and he just talks wonderfully about Catholicism and all the questions that come up about seeking the Catholic faith. It's just wonderful. So please, Call to Communion, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay. Can we go back to the phones?
Let's do that.
All right. Lori in Madison, Connecticut on Sirius. Oh, here we go. Sirius XM 130 again. We have a serious day today. Hi, Lori. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. Thank you for this wonderful program and timely topic.
Oh, you're welcome. So what's your
take
on
this?
Yeah.
So I'm okay. So basically, what I wanted, I'm a married woman of 39 years. I have 4 grown children. I have 10 grandchildren. My husband travels a good bit. So I initially got on Facebook to try very innocently just to see what the kids are doing, see what their families are doing. And slowly over time, I saw myself more and more going to Facebook when I had the downtime, going to Facebook. You know, I'm trying to grow in holiness. I go to morning mass, but I really didn't do any more of my reading of good books on the saints, because all my time was spent, any free time, on going on Facebook, seeing who was doing what. And then really what I started to notice, honestly, was the near occasion of sin. I started to become like, wow, I'm envious of where they're going on vacation, and I'm looking at who's tagged where and what photos. And I'm thinking, if I'm truly trying to grow in holiness, I have to eliminate this from my life. I'm not disciplined enough to say I'll only get on it 1 hour in the morning. I had to just completely cut it out. And so I did that just a little over 10 days ago, and I can't even tell you how freeing it is.
Oh, my goodness, Lori, as you were talking, we do a short take on the show where we pick a certain call that just kind of zeroes in on exactly maybe where everybody's thinking and going with this topic. And as you were talking, I just thought to myself, I would love for our listeners to hear your call over and over again, because what you have to say, I think we have all been exposed to. And I just love the fact that you were so strong that you just said, I'm done. I'm getting away from this. And I think that just goes to show how much you absolutely are committed to your faith, and how much you love God, and how you want to go down that wonderful path of holiness, which we all should be traveling on. So, Lori, way to go. I would say kudos to you. I think it's awesome. But I just have to tell you, I think there was something wrong with my earpiece. I think you said you were married. I thought it was 3 years, because you sound so incredible. Your voice sounds so youthful.
She's got adult kids and grandkids.
Yeah, but you said 39 years. Lori, way to go. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Lori, for the call. Have a great day. We appreciate that. And Darlene and the others, we're going to hear that lovely music to end the show here in just a moment. We apologize for that, but please keep the conversation going at take2show.com via email. And in fact, we did get an email there that I just wanted to. Actually, it's it's a post on take2show.com. The email is take2@EWTN.com. Matthew commented. He says, "I do not have any social media accounts. My thought ... Social accounts tend to lead each person to compare their behind-the-scenes life with everyone else's highlights." So insightful comment, Matthew. And Debbie, here's one that kind of addresses the key thing we were talking about. Roxanne said, "I mostly use Facebook to share my Catholic faith. Heart. My husband and I have our own accounts. Old high school boyfriends or girlfriends as Facebook friends isn't a problem unless lines are crossed and private messages start being sent." So they have the devotion to one another and the discipline to be able to do that. Some don't, so yeah, we just put that out there.
Interesting. Okay, great show. Yes, tomorrow's show was inspired actually by my sister, who just recently retired after 40 years of full-time work. And it's I never thought I would feel the way the day that I did when I retired. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day.